And so we'll see if we're live. I think we're going to be live.
Yeah, we're live. It's got the little red thing up in the corner.
Is it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm refreshing. There we go. Yep, and we're live. Excellent. Alrighty. So yeah, let's get right to it then. Hey, so my name is Memphis Beach. And this right here is a very special event for me personally, because this is a really really cool group of individuals that have come together as a brotherhood, and we think of ourselves as the tribe. Um, it's it's one of those groups where it's not just a group of guys that are training junkies and just get together and we shoot classes and we go to matches, but it's a group that actually genuinely cares about each other's well-being on a personal level, to the point where if one of us is in trouble, the rest of us will come out of pocket, or we'll travel to make sure that other brother is okay. And that's something that's very, very rare in this space. I think a lot of communities don't really have that, as far as like on an individual level. And I think that sense of community is a story that really needs to be told. So tonight we have a really diverse panel here, and these are some of the faces that you'll be able to hear from today. And I think that today, the person to really get this thing going, to tell us how the tribe got started, is going to be Ethan. So, Ethan, thanks so much for coming on today.
Hey, I really appreciate you having me, Memphis. So the tribe really got started as well. I just wanted people to shoot with. So it started out as me and a bunch of local guys. It's dwindled down to the only local left, or local to me left rather, would be Neil. And it started out as just a group chat where we posted memes and we'd go to the range, and we organize classes, we go to matches, some of us have talked about taking the families out to vacation together. When people have been in financial straits, we've come together as a group and helped them out. That kind of stuff. It's a really good thing overall, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Yeah, I mean, I think, and you mentioned something we've done for the tribe, or something we've done as part of the tribe. Probably my favorite thing I've done is when I got when we first started organizing, going to classes together. I got Riley, who's in the chat with us here tonight, and John and Terry together, and we all took Brian Hill's Pistol Essentials class in Tennessee with you. Actually, that's how we met you.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a class with Brian Hill. It was pretty awesome, and everybody just clicked really well, almost as if you knew each other for years. So, so here's one thought that I had. Right, like, does it ever get to the point where, like, if you got enough people together, we could just call up somebody like, hey, I don't know, Gabe White. Can we just call you up and say, hey, we got 8 people ready to go? Like, have you guys ever done that before, or what?
Yeah, we've done that with Riley Bowman in 2022. We did that at the Hobbs Island shooting range in Huntsville, Alabama, and then we did that again with Tim Herron just a couple weekends back. And the way I understand it, we're going to be doing that again in Texas with Mark Smith in 2024.
Yeah, so for some people, like, for instance, I'm going to use myself as an example. If I knew there was a clash coming up and I knew there were people in the area, I could just call people and say, hey, are you going to this? Are you going to that? But instead, you've done more than that. There's this actual community of people that genuinely give a damn about each other. Like, was that the original intent, or was it just, hey, just let's go to classes together?
Absolutely not. This all kind of happened very organically. The original intent wasn't even to get people to go to classes. It was just to get people to go to the range. And it's become so much more than that.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's fantastic. We got some comments over here in the comments. Like, there we go. We got Practical Andy. This is Andy Montoya from the After Action Project, saying what's up. We got a bullet ball breaker. Yeah, there's some story behind that. And so this right here is Brandon Jackson. He's tearing it up on the IDPA scene and in USPSA. We got Keith Tyler from TFI Academy. Riley Bowman, you're going to hear from him later on tonight. And we got a bunch more. It's going to be awesome. So, Ethan, who you think is going to be best suited to continue the story of is there anybody else that you asked to come into the tribe, or is there anybody else that you would think would be good for continuing on the story?
Well, most of the guys on this panel I actually added to the tribe myself, but Neil is the only one that I knew in person when he got added. Okay. Well, you and Neil.
So before we go on to Neil, what do you usually look for people that, is there certain characteristics or certain character qualities that you look for people that want to join?
So when we talk about somebody that we think might be a good fit for the group, we generally are not looking for somebody who's into like the social media flex offs or ball busting or trolling. It's more people we see out there who are trying to do good, trying to help people. Like they're in because realistically, it's in the social media space. People can be however they want. So if we get people who are choosing to be the good guy, to be the white hat, and try to teach and help others who aren't quite as far along, that's the kind of people that we try to see more of, because that's the kind of people that we like to surround ourselves with.
Right on. We got a question coming in from Practical Andy. This is Andy Montoya of the After Action Project. And the question is, how does one join the tribe? How does one join TRIBECAST? Or is it, Andy, are you asking about TRIBECAST, or are you talking about the tribe in general? And so if someone wants to join the tribe, is that something that they can do? Or is it something that, it would just be up to the tribe if they are a good fit to join?
At this point, it's kind of just up to the tribe. Like there's a few of us who are, for lack of a better term, like the ruling body, because we kind of make the decision on what class we want to go to, which everybody gets input, obviously, but there's a handful of us that make the final decision, and we've put more contentious people who've been suggested to join to a vote, things like that.
Right on. Okay. All righty. So from here, let's go on to Neil. And Neil, I have a question for you. How did you join the tribe? Was the tribe something that you were asked to join, or did you just start hanging out with Ethan and it blew up into this? How did this start?
Well, it all started whenever I started working directly with Ethan. For me, I was in the market for buying an AR, and I had no idea about anything, and went to him for some advice, and he wound up giving me some pretty solid advice, and started going to the range with him every so often, and wound up getting added to the group chat that turned into what it is now, which is the tribe. And it went from just being a few local fellas, that would spitball some advice to around, and turned into, jumped in the chat one day, and there was, a whole lot of faces that I didn't know, and a whole lot of knowledge that is just a very deep well to be able to dip into anytime you need any advice on anything. And then not just guns or shooting or anything like that. Just life advice in general. There's a lot of level-headed people in this chat that have helped me as well as everybody else all along the way.
Have you seen any instances in the tribe that, we've really, I don't know, help people in personal ways? I know I've seen a couple. I just can't think of any specific examples right now. You don't have to name names or anything, but if you can fill that in.
I mean, there's definitely been some instances where they've come to us and said, hey, I'm thinking about parting ways with this firearm or something like that. I gotta do XYZ as far as making ends meet goes, and kind of get together behind the scenes and pull some money up and bring some people together to help them out in their hard times. And then we've also within the group funded I think either 2 or 4 people to come to the classes together.
So let me just get this straight. There were times where people didn't have enough money to come to a class, and the tribe pooled together resources to get them in. Is that what happened here?
Yep. Yeah, on more than one occasion. And it's been a beautiful thing seeing just everybody come together and really build that bond to be able to do things like that.
Man, that's pretty outstanding. We got some comments over here in the comments section. There we go. So Charles Fisher said, I saw Riley busting balls not even 24 hours ago. We're going to talk to Riley here in just a second. And then also Beulah Ballbreaker. That name is killer. So is this truly a sausage fest? Or y'all need some girls in the tribe? LOL. That's a good question. Let's see. So Neil, do you have any idea of where we're going with the tribe next? Like, are there any conversations about who we're getting next, or is that something that we still need to talk about?
I'll defer that to someone else.
Yeah,
I think we do have a direction in mind, but I'll go ahead and pass the baton on to somebody else. I'm just happy to be here.
Alrighty. Should I ask Ethan? Like, is that something, a good question for Ethan? Or who would you like me to ask that question to?
Dealer's choice.
Okay. Alrighty. There you go. So Neil, thanks a bunch. We're going to come back to you here in a little bit. Ethan, let's ask you, like, who all are we considering for our next class? I think at one point we were throwing some names around.
So Mark Smith is the next class. He wasn't able to make it tonight, but Chris Hitch, he's located in Dallas. He's going to be the host next year. I've hosted the previous 2 years, and I'm passing the baton because, well, for one, I shouldn't be the only person who gets a free class, and for two, hosting is a huge headache, and I've pulled all my hair out doing it, so I'd like to not. But Hitch has gotten with Mark Smith, and we've actually got Mark in the tribe now, and he's acclimating, and he's going to be running one of his 2-day pistol courses for us sometime in, I believe, April of next year in Texas.
Right on.
Which is exciting for me because I've never been to Texas.
Yeah. So, who do you think I should pass the baton to next?
Let's go with Dave.
Dave. All righty. Let's see. I'm trying to find him on the thing. There we go. Yeah. Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Hey.
Yeah. Can you tell us how you came into the tribe and what all the tribe has done for you?
So I don't want to eat up a lot of time, but it's I'll try to make a long story short. Basically I got thrown into the tribe, thrown into a group chat of chaos early on when the tribe first started. And I happened to be in a rough spot at the time and going through some stuff. Ammo is expensive. At the time, a couple of years ago, everybody went through all that stuff. And I was doing what I could do to try and get better on a low budget. So dry fire, Riley Bowman actually helped me out a ton privately before he knew any of us. All the help in the world. And while I was in this group chat of gun dudes, Ethan actually approached me and asked me if I could take one of two classes. Which would I pick? One of them was Riley Bowman's pistol intelligence class, and I believe the other one was the Quest. So you kind of put me in a rough spot. But Riley had helped me so much. I said one day I'd like to take a Riley Bowman class. I thought I was being asked because Ethan wanted to take a class and he was just asking for my opinion. But it turned out that all of these guys pooled money together to get me all the way to Alabama for a class. And then that was Tribe Class 1, which ended up happening. And I want to say there were 17 of us that got together for that class.
Very cool. Very cool. So let's see. Man, that's pretty inspiring. Have you ever seen anything else like this where, folks just get together and you call up folks to be like, hey, can you come down here and train with us? Like, have you ever seen anything like that before?
No, I mean, so I'm down here in Louisiana, and we're kind of limited on range space. We don't have a lot of ranges that allow you to do a lot of stuff. We do get instructors every now and then, but it's been kind of stagnant for at least the past 5 years or so. And anytime, man, it's always the same story. Anytime you try to say, hey, let's get a group of dudes and let's go to a class together. Let's do it. It's always ammo's expensive, or the class costs money, or I can't take off of work, or whatever excuses people have. Everybody wants to go to classes and go shoot with their buddies and all, but it never happens. And I think that has a lot to do with ego and people's mentality of they don't want to look like a fool in front of their friends, which is kind of silly because honestly, if you're really good friends with people, you're going to look like a fool at some point, and you can both laugh about it. And I mean, we do. This whole group of guys, we rip on each other all the time, but it's all for the better. I've never seen it like. I've tried to do it myself before without it being the tribe. I've tried to get groups, even 5 people. It doesn't happen. You can't force it to happen. You can assist it to happen, but somebody mentioned it at the last class we were at. It has to be organic. It truly has to be organic. You can't force it.
Very cool. Yeah. So you have the baton. Who are you passing the baton off to?
I need to pass the baton off to Tanner.
Tanner. All right.
He has a story and a half.
Dude, Tanner, how's it going today, man?
It's good. Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So how did you get into the tribe? I want to hear your story.
So, yeah. So actually me and Ethan, so I mean, before I knew any of these guys, I was pretty active in like the social media, like the Facebook groups, whatever. Just kind of doing my own thing, kind of unguided. And eventually we came across this group that me and Ethan were actually mods for, and we were always butting heads with the other mods. And I think going off Dave's point though of like ego, there's a lot of ego in that group. So me and Ethan we just segregated ourselves, and Ethan started off the tribe, and then we had some history together. So then he invited me over.
Right on, right on. Have you gone to a lot of classes with the tribe, or has it just been maybe 1 or 2? Can you tell me a little bit about how many classes you've gone to with the tribe, and how often y'all hang out?
Okay, yeah. So as like with the tribe, I've only done the 2, Riley Bowman and with Tim Herron. However, I did take a class with Tyler Tharp here, Synergy Training Group here. And that was my very first time meeting one of the tribe members in person. And like from right there, like Tyler was super open armed, let me stay in his house. And it was just like I knew kind of had something going on here, and I wanted to, continue and commit to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It hasn't always been just a shooting thing, has it? Has the tribe ever helped you out personally, just off the range?
Oh yes, 100%. More than I can really explain. if I could look back at myself of how I was when I first joined the tribe and where I am at now, it's night and day difference. I've matured, I've grown a lot. I think I've become more of a man, a better husband, a better dad. And for the people listening in, I'm only 22 years old, and to have access to like years and years of life experience at my fingertips is something I'm very fortunate to have. And like I said, I've just been able to grow and mature so much more thanks to these guys.
That's pretty awesome, dude. Like, to be 22 years old and like running with the big dogs the way you are, like in matches and classes, then you just pick up like CO Master. Like, wasn't that just a recent accomplishment?
Yes, it was. I did just get a master class for Optics, USPSA. And honestly, I give huge credit to the tribe and everyone who's helped me out. I honestly wouldn't have gotten it if it wasn't for them.
Alrighty, so you have the baton. Who are you passing it off to?
Since I mentioned Tyler, I want to hand it off to Tyler.
Alrighty, let me find Tyler on this little thing right here. There we go. I'm still new to this interface. There we go, and there's Tyler. How you doing today, man?
Hey, man, doing great,
dude. So Tyler, like, he's got a special place in my heart. Like, there's only so much time you can spend with somebody before you learn enough about them to decide whether or not you want to love them or not. And Tyler's one of those guys that I just love. So there's some bias here. Okay, so Tyler, how did you get into the tribe? What has the tribe done for you?
man? I believe Matt brought me into the tribe, and I only knew of him via some Facebook groups that I was just kind of in and out. And much like what Dave said, a few years ago when I was brought in, wasn't so great part of life. I was dealing with relationship issues, professional issues, just couldn't find my place in the world, and it was really eating at me and all that jazz. And not really even knowing who I was and trying to figure out who I actually am, trying to be somebody. I knew I was starting into the teaching world and knew kind of the direction I wanted to go, but much like what other people have the same problem, I was over trying, and that led to the issues that it would lead into. And so the biggest thing the tribe has done for me is they've shown me, welcomed me with open arms and allowed me to be me, and showed me that it's totally okay for me to be just who I am. The person Tyler is today is totally okay. We're all flawed. That's all cool, man. Like, we're human. To err is human, and it's totally okay. They've had those open arms and that reinforcement that a man needs. We can say we're all tough and all that, and sure, yeah, you are. I'm gonna tell you, man, that having the reinforcement and people like the tribe to have your back, you need that in life to really be who you are and comfortable in your own skin. And so, long story short, that's exactly what the tribe has done for me. What I've done for them, and they'll attest to this, is I've brought perfect eyesight to the tribe. That is my contribution to them.
Okay. Sorry, so that's kind of an inside joke, but yeah. Let's see. Tyler, you're an instructor in your own right. You've taught a couple of classes for tribe members. Like, for instance, your red dot pistol optics course that I took down in Vicksburg last year, it was absolutely phenomenal. You got another one of those coming up here in Raymond, Mississippi, and it's going to be, I think you're going to get some help from Jim Krantz, right? So can you tell me a little bit more about that class that's going to happen?
Yeah, so actually the Jim Krantz class is a practical shooting clinic, 1-day class with a USPSA match the next day, where we're going to make sure all the students are in our squad. We're going to coach and video you so that you have a lot to actually take home. So that's March 18th in Raymond. But so my RDS performance and diagnostic class is taught by me and a masterclass shooter, Stony Steele. We both have coaching, teaching backgrounds, and we exercise that in the shooting world. So that particular class is a 2-day class, April 22nd and 23rd in Raymond, Mississippi as well. And then you got, excuse me, Cliff is hosting me in October in North Alabama for that same exact class with Stoney and I as well. So I'm not doing a whole lot of big open enrollment classes this year. I just named off those 3 actually. The rest of them, I'm just helping out at my local range and doing private lessons.
I think that's such a cool premise to, like, you know, have day one of the actual in-class instruction and all the practical application. And then day 2 to have the coaching during the match. And like, that is such a phenomenal idea. Did you get that from somebody or did you come up with that yourself?
So me and Stoney dreamed that up 2 years ago when he came to one of my classes, and I did that for him. It's probably further than that, because not long after that, he surpassed me leaps and bounds in competition performance. He straight up just left me in the dirt. I was a B-class shooter when he came to me, and he made master not long after that. So, and I'm still trying to make master. But no, that's just something we just did and thought that was a cool idea a few years ago. And so we're finally actually putting it into fruition this year, actually in a month. So, yeah.
Man, that's pretty cool. All right. So you have the talking stick, you have the baton. Who are we passing the baton to?
I'd love to pass it off to one of my biggest mentors, and Mr. Riley Bowman.
We got Riley Bowman in the house today. Riley, how you doing today?
Great. You know, I've been looking forward to this all week since we lined it up.
Yeah, me too. Riley, we got some comments over here in the comment section. And by the way, the audio is coming in phenomenally. So we got Charles Fisher. I saw Riley busting balls not even 24 hours ago. Let's see. Rowan Coert. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Riley be my boo.
Well, I'm pretty sure some of those are directed at my twin, you know, Riley Newsome there. So
perhaps, yeah. So let's see. But you got a lot of love right here in the audience right here. So pretty awesome stuff. Oh crap, I gotta do my homework tonight. So Riley, how did you get a hold of, you know, the tribe? Did they contact you or did you hear about them? Can you tell me that story?
Yeah, man, you know, I bumped into a bunch of these guys. I knew a lot of them by name from mutual Facebook group interactions. That, you know, organically over time, it was like, you know, I'd see Dave Mayer and Ethan and Tyler. You know, we'd pop up in a lot of the same places, having conversations, arguments, debates, discussions, etc. And you know, so I knew a lot of the names, I guess, right? You know, and then I remember being contacted by Ethan about being hosted for a class, and I was like, oh wow, okay, you know, and it was. I remember Ethan kind of saying, he's like, hey, you know, we have this group of guys ready to go, like they're going to sign up for your class, like, because Ethan had never hosted a class. I had never worked with Ethan before on a class. I had never done a class in Alabama, you know, and so like there's a lot of unknowns, especially at you know, like I knew nothing about that range, so there was a ton of unknowns, and it's kind of like I kind of felt like these guys were, or like I was kind of this guinea pig of sorts, you know, like, hey, we're gonna bring you in, we're gonna host you for a class, and didn't know what to expect, and then next thing I know, like signups for that class just started rolling in really, really quickly, and it filled right up, which just blew me away. And that just quickly, you know, showed me that he wasn't kidding when he talked about this group of guys that were, you know, all going to sign up for this class. Just really, really blew me away. And then in going through that class last year, not only did I, you know, realize that it was sort of like this, that I was their guinea pig, but also or that, not that they were my guinea pigs, but like it went both ways. It was just kind of funny, like how it all came together. And I remember thinking, you know, just so many unknowns and didn't know what to expect. And they're even like, hey, let's stay in this Airbnb all together. And I was like, I didn't know about that either, but I'm all for it because I'm all down with a good challenge as well as a good adventure. And it proved to be way more fulfilling of an adventure than anything I anticipated, and in all the good, positive ways. These guys have not only adopted me into the tribe, but they've become my family. You know, outside of my actual family here. You know, so it's been really cool to see each of the members of the tribe, especially those that have gone through classes with me last year, with Tim Herron a few weeks ago, and seeing their growth and seeing how they've leveled up year over year. It's been really satisfying to witness, you know, as an instructor, as a teacher, being invested in these guys' growth. You know, Dave mentioned earlier about me doing some, you know, on the side, just coaching, you know, for him on some stuff, and just seeing everybody leveling up and growing, and not only growing in their shooting abilities, but also as people. I mean, I've had some of the most deep conversations with anybody outside of my family, with some of these men that are right here with me on this podcast tonight. Stuff that I would never expected to have occurred. It's been a remarkable experience to be a part of the tribe as their little guinea pig.
So, just from the outside looking in, I saw some of those pictures from, you know, from that experience, and it didn't look like a class. It looked like mentorship. You know, it looked like, Big Brother. You know, was that what you felt there?
Yeah, and what's cool is it's not just, you know, in a traditional instructor to student relationship, you would expect this like teacher down to student type mentorship to exist. But what I've witnessed in the tribe and within these two classes that we've done the last 2 years is that there's mentorship that's happening on all levels between members of the tribe. And that is something that is just truly special. You know, it was commented or asked about earlier about whether, I don't remember who it was that was asked, but whether they had seen anything else quite like this outside of the tribe. And certainly there are many other groups, organizations, even less formal stuff like other chat groups or Facebook groups where like-minded individuals and shooters and competitors try to get together and help one another. But I haven't seen anything quite like the tribe outside of the tribe. And I've been a lot of different places and been in a lot of different groups, you know, out in the online. And so it's the mentorship piece is so cool because I even feel like I've been mentored by some of those in this group. And that's what I mean is that it hasn't only been a relationship for me where I was brought in as an instructor to teach a class, but also I feel like I have gotten back in return so many of the blessings of having this tribe, this fellowship, this brotherhood. It's truly remarkable.
Yeah, it is truly remarkable to behold. So you have the baton. Who would you like to pass the baton off to?
Oh man. I'd like to hear next from Cliff.
There we go. Let me find this little profile down here. There we go. There's Cliff. Man, Cliff, how you doing today? I'm gonna do you a favor, Cliff, and unmute you. How about that? You doing okay?
Yeah. Doing good, Memphis. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for having me.
Doing awesome. So, Cliff, how did you get into this group? Like, you know, did they approach you? Did you approach them? Like, and what all has the tribe done for you? I want to hear your story.
Okay, so I was approached by, like many of us, Matthew Stevens. Big shout out to that guy. He really kind of pipelined a lot of us into the group. I guess really starting with the beginning, you know, during or I say during and after the pandemic, you know, we a lot of people had lost a lot of social interaction, right? I'm one of those guys that I thrive in a group of friends. That's the people I lean on. It's the people that I spend my time with and my energy with. And so, the pandemic happens and we're all really struggling because, none of us can really get to do the things we used to do. You really about the only thing you had to do was time to go shoot, right? So I go out to the range and start burning down some ammo. And previously, before being approached by Matthew, I'd taken a couple local classes. Michael South, been with Light Horse Tactical for a while. Took some classes from him. Good personal friend. And we had, I'd learned some stuff, started progressing as a shooter, and really kind of got that bug, not so much to be a training junkie per se, but, to get out there and see progress, right? Not to stand out and waste ammo for an hour and not really accomplish anything. So I spent some time working on a couple different things and as time goes on, I start progressing into these different Facebook groups and these different gun groups and shooting groups. And I ended up hopping into a training group with Matt and Tanner. And I think I had posted a training video of a low light class I'd taken from Michael. And we kind of commented a little bit back and forth. And Matthew approaches me and says, "Hey, I'm in this group with a bunch of good dudes that like to shoot and get better. What do you think about joining?" So at the time, I'm very much up for a good time, right? So I join in, and life's never been the same, and it's been for the better. Over my time in the tribe, I've seen a lot of different things happen, and they've all been for the good. We're, I guess, more comparable to brothers, and maybe like a sports team of sorts. You have that kindred fellowship between each other. There's, we joke about Tyler wanting to beat Dave over the head with a cactus more than once a week, because we do argue. We do things. We still fuss with each other, and we're just like brothers, right? You're going to have those interactions, but at the same time, when somebody has something going on in their life, you see just no hesitation and immediate outpouring of help. There is no afterthought, I'll take that back. Everything is an afterthought. There is no premeditation of, should we do this? Should we do that? No, if somebody asks for help, everybody gets together. That's something I haven't seen very often, very few times in my life. Seeing that the first time I saw it, it was really a trigger to let me know that, hey, this is where I need to be. Then as time goes on, we're talking, and the first class comes, I wasn't able to make it. Had some scheduling conflicts, but I really regretted that, not being able to get in there. And second class goes to come up, and my professional life had a lot going on and was working crazy hours, so I wasn't able to sign up immediately for Tim's class. And but I wanted to go so bad, and things began to open up. But post registration, and like Riley stated, one of the amazing things about this is there is no 3 months of attempting to fill a class. You fill a class like that. So I was kind of kicking myself for not meeting in the making the sign up and being able to go. And Ethan approaches me and says, "Hey, Tim and Riley have talked. They're going to bring on AJ Zito, so we can bring on 2 more students. I want you and we've all talked. We want you and Johnny in. Johnny's not with us tonight, but Johnny's our tribe grandpa. He's a good guy that's here local with Ethan and Neil and I. So I'm ecstatic about that. In the meantime, sign up immediately once I find out this is happening. Forever grateful for it too. In the meantime, I go down to Vicksburg to take a synergy class with Tyler and Stoney. And I'd shot a match with Ethan in Huntsville previous to this, but other than that, I really hadn't met anybody in the tribe. So I go down to Synergy. I get to meet, I won't name everybody, but some of the faces we've seen here tonight, right? Tanner, got to meet Tanner right off the bat. We squatted up on the line and ended up being partners for the rest of the weekend, and which was paid huge dividends for me, right? Did the same actually at Tim Herron's class. Got to spend time with these guys and really see the physical interaction that you see online. There's a lot of these, different conversations we have in the chat, but when you see it play out in real life, you realize how genuine they are. So went through that class, got the bug again, right? Just saw some progress. Went to Tim's class with Riley and AJ, and absolutely had the time of my life. Had some of the biggest breakthroughs I've had in my shooting life and professional and personal life in years. And I owe it all to these guys. I joke about how during the pandemic I was kind of just wandering around like Andrew Lincoln in The Walking Dead, because I'm so used to having a core group of friends that now I no longer was around due to those circumstances. So finding these guys was such a huge impact on my life. I can't state enough that what we have here is special. But it's not, it's not one of those things that we have captured lightning in a bottle, but lightning can strike twice. So I'd encourage everybody out there that sees this stuff and is kind of getting inspired by this to go out there and, make your own tribe. There are people out there like you that want to do the things you do and you can have that camaraderie with, but you're just going to go out there and find them.
I'm going to ask you guys about this later on today as a group. And there's going to be a question and answer section for the entire group at the end. But there's a couple more people I still want to hear from. Cliff, you have the baton. Who are you going to pass it off to?
Let's go Riley Newsom.
Right on. Let me see. How many Rileys do we have in here?
We have entirely too many.
Riley, how's it going tonight?
Good. So one Riley down, 2 more to go. Yeah, so I guess I came into the tribe, I think it was late, maybe 2020 or maybe early 2021. I got approached by a buddy of ours, Scott Wheeland, who's just awesome. And he added me to this insane chat group of chaotic people. I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, I recognize this guy. I've seen this Dave guy before in some of these groups. I've seen Ethan. Seen everybody around in kind of all the gun groups that we all populated at the time. I guess still do. And got to talking, and we became fast friends. They were. I think that tribe was also my real introduction to big boy training. I was living in Nashville at the time, and I had been to a few classes around there, kind of like local stuff. And Ethan lets me know, hey, we're going down there for a Brian Hill class pretty soon. We want you to come. And it was, it was pretty great. It was good to, I think when you're doing training like that, you show up to a class and most of the time you don't know anybody and you make friends there. But it was a good dynamic to be able to have a few people there that I knew, with Ethan and John and Terry, and then Memphis that we met there, who's pretty cool. He's all right, I guess. And yeah, we've kind of just we've been in it ever since. We've done the 2, I guess, tribal training summits, or powwows, that have been great. Gained 2 more Rileys, which is a little overwhelming.
So let's see. What was the most recent, class that you've had with Tribe?
Oh, yeah. So
and how is that different than all the other classes that you take without Tribe?
The most recent class just a couple weekends ago. I was with Tim Herron, and we had Riley Bowman and AJ Zito there as our AIs, and that was if it was different showing up to a class and having a couple guys that try showing up and having everybody there, like all, what was it, 17, 18 people there was someone I knew. And
20 of us.
20.
Yeah, 20 people.
So show up, there's 20 dudes there that I all know. And we're sharing a house together, have dinner after class every night. And that was, I don't know that there's anywhere out there that has that kind of dynamic. Even some of these big, summits that get put on by these entities, you show up there and it's like, well, yeah, you kind of know of a lot of the people there. You're part of the same thing, but you don't really know each other. But you have to be able to show up and stay in a house with 20 dudes, all weekend was great, And then what Tribe's done for me, I think a lot like Cliff after the apocalypse started. Was kind of isolated from a lot of people I hung out with. I didn't really hang out with a lot of people to begin with. I kind of just had a couple friends that I talked to at work all the time. And COVID starts and everything, and I'm now seeing basically nobody that I know. And I kind of get sent all over for work. I was doing security at the time in Nashville, so we were getting sent kind of all over the city. And it's like, okay, we're doing a show one week and different stuff another week. And kind of just sitting around with your dick in the dirt, as they say, feeling bad, and get brought into this big family that's kind of helping get through these past couple years. They've been hard for everybody. But to be able to have such an awesome group of people to kind of just cultivate yourself and grow as a person. I feel like I've grown a lot as a person these past couple years, knowing everybody, grow as a shooter, and help other people grow is, it's hard to find other places. I don't know if you can, I guess we'll get into it a little later, but I don't know if there's a way to make it happen. It just kind of has to happen.
Yeah. You could say that, these guys have kind of caught lightning in a bottle, so to speak.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely.
So you have the baton. Who would you like to pass it off to? I think there's only one more left, right?
Yeah, I think we need to finish off Trace Riley's Magnifico.
Right on.
Hand it off to Riley Mitchell.
Riley, how's it going today?
Oh, it's going great. I am the newest and final Riley added to the chat. And Ethan, I think added me on Facebook, like, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, just from being in gun groups and stuff like that. And then one day he sends me a message and he tells me, hey, I added you to this group chat. I think you're going to like it. And then from there on out, it was pretty much just this, which is something that I've never experienced before. I've been in the gun world for like 7 or 8 years now, and I can tell you that I've never seen anything as more wholesome as all these guys here tonight, and the ones that aren't here. I've taken classes before, and once the classes are over, it's like, okay, you may go get food with those guys, you may hang out, you may know 1 or 2 guys, but to show up to a class and every single person there, like aspects of their life, all about them, and then to go to the same house. There's not a lot of people that can say that they were in an Airbnb in rural Alabama, drinking bourbon with Tim Herron at 1 a.m. So this whole thing has just been absolutely mind blowing, and I still can't believe that I'm part of it.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm a part of it either. That's pretty outstanding. Yeah. So let's see. I think this is a good time for us to go off into a little bit more of a group discussion. And so here's the question that I have collectively for all of you. Is it, of course, there's benefits, right? To showing up to a class and literally all 20 of those people are people that that you trust with a handgun in their hand, that have your back. And there's a lot of safety advantages to that. And there's also a lot of cognitive advantages to that, like even after the class. So, like, how do you compare that to, going to a class by yourself? And is that even something you want to even go back to?
So, my first class was in November of 2020. It was a Brian Hill RDS Concepts. I've been to several of Brian's classes. I really I really appreciate his teaching and his coaching style. That's very encouraging. But I went to his class. I was the only person there. And then the next class I go to, also a Brian Hill class, but it's with a few of these guys and with you, Memphis. And the experience was just so much better. So much better. And then flash forward to Tribe Class 1 with Riley. And up to that point, the best class experience of my life. And I'm just going to go ahead and say I don't think I can ever go back to that situation where I'm going to a class and I don't know anybody, because it's so much better when you know a few people there. They're your actual friends, not like, oh, I know that guy, but they're your actual friends. A lot of the performance anxiety that is associated with a class, because people don't treat a class like they should. They don't treat it like a class. They don't treat it like a learning opportunity. A lot of times they treat it like a competition. Well, if I'm in a friendly competition with my buddies, it's a lot easier for me to perform and to learn at the level that I'm capable of than if I'm in a class full of strangers. So no, me personally, I don't think I'll ever go back to taking just rando classes with rando people.
Anybody else want to comment on that?
So, these guys all know, but so my background is I do private sector stuff. Nothing super exciting in the gun world, but I do write articles every now and then for a website that does concealed carry stuff. The only thing I can say is, like, when people see us and they're like, "Hey, how do I do that?" There's no right answer, but I have formed friendships and bonds with people in the industry just by going to classes, and man, be friendly. Like Ethan said, to piggyback off of that, there's a lot of people that go to classes. I have my class resume list of many classes I've been to where I was the guy. I felt like I was going to be the worst shooter there. You know, you get all this anxiety because you're worried about looking stupid. But honestly, when have you ever gone to a class for school and sat down and you felt stupid just being there? You don't. But for some reason with shooting, there's a lot of people who have big egos and they want to impress their friends because, you know, it is gun stuff. It's macho man stuff. But man, one of my good friends that I write articles for now, I met him at a class when he'll probably rip on me for it, but I met him at a class when he was shooting a Springfield XD with the provided holster and mag pouches that came with the gun. And he was like, "Hey, I'm so and so, you know, I run a website and all, and you know, this was a gun I got for testing, so I'm doing all this." And I was just friendly with him, man. We had class, like I shot on the line with him. We talked the whole time, just chatted about random stuff. It wasn't even trying to show off who's better than who. It wasn't. We were there to learn. And I've been knowing him now for 5-6 years. And maybe one day I'll get him involved with the tribe. He's a busy guy. But I'll tell you right now, we see it all the time. We saw it in past classes before. Some people show up and they want this bond of all these guys helping each other out. But, you know, you get what you give. And if you're not out there helping other people and you're not there to learn, it's just not going to happen. I mean, Memphis, you and I have taken the class back in Vicksburg with a lot of these dudes, and it was the same way. We had guys that weren't tribe, but we welcomed them to us, had dinner with them, chatted afterwards and everything. And it's when people see how, and I don't want us to be like a humble brag, but when they see how much we give back in ways, they see that. And they feel good about it, and they want to give back, and they want to help people. It's like paying it forward. If you go to a class and you're not there to learn, then what you're there for?
Yeah, that camaraderie really shows off, and I think it takes the edge off for the classes. You know what I mean? It's not so much of not so much performance anxiety. So let me ask you guys, if there's people out there that are listening to this and they don't have a community or a brotherhood like this, is it possible to start this? Can they start their own tribe, and how?
I'll jump in real quick. It's absolutely possible to start this yourself if you want to try to form your own tribe community, similar to what we've been able to achieve here with this tribe. And I know some of the other guys here have some thoughts about that as well. I definitely want to hear from them. The one thing I wanted to point out that I think is really key is that in so many other groups, whether it's a Facebook group or a group chat like some of the others I've been in the past, you'll see these dynamics where some of the people that are members of those groups are definitely in it to try to elevate their own status, or to demonstrate how much they know, or to you'll see there's almost like these little competitions of sorts. But what I think is so unique about this tribe, and what part of what makes it work so well, is because that doesn't exist. There's not anybody in this group that is trying to elevate their hierarchy status, or to try to show how they're better than everybody else. It simply doesn't exist. Everyone here is about helping one another. Everyone is cheering each other on. Everyone wants to help everybody else elevate themselves. It's that I think that's the thing that's missing from so many other similar pseudo tribes, is the fact that everybody is, I mean, again, certainly there are some disagreements that occur, and arguments even, and debates, but it's all kind of out of brotherly love. And a lot of those discussions are had with the knowledge that it will make us better by having those discussions. And it's less, again, about proving that my position on this topic is the right one, and yours is not. But again, like, the key there is that we kind of are unified in this common goal of everybody advancing, everybody improving. And when there have been those that haven't demonstrated that that goal so much, at some point they find that they're no longer in the tribe. And certainly there have been a few people that have come and gone. But as what I've seen, first from coming in as a bit of an outsider in the beginning, and then up through now, is seeing that everyone's unified in that common goal, that common direction.
Yeah, that's what I've seen too. Anybody else? Is it possible to start your own tribe anywhere?
So for me, when we really started blowing up, the big thing I try to remember, and the big saying I always try to think about, is a rising tide raises all boats. And like Riley said, it's all about, like, and it's not put on, but genuinely supporting each other. Like I think I was more excited when Tanner made Masterclass than he was, honestly. Like, I was in my underwear eating cereal and I threw the bowl over my head. I was excited. But if you want to build a community like this, you got to be genuine. You've got to be genuine, and you can't be in this for the enrichment of yourself in any form, whether it's knowing that you're going to be able to make connections that are going to create social media clout, or industry connections to try to start a career, or whatever. Like, when I started this, it's because I wanted people to shoot guns with, and now I still got people I get to shoot guns with. It's just I get to shoot guns with them all over the country instead of in small town Alabama. And I 100% believe anybody can have this. It's about making it about a community, making it about the community, not about you.
Yeah, that's very insightful. We need more of that stuff, especially in the shooting community. Like, there needs to be less dick measuring. There needs to be less, like, you know, I'm holier than thou. Um, and you see where people are trying to create their own tribe from like an instructor cadre or from an alumni corps or, even from a general demographic, but it's not very successful. And I want to ask you guys, like, why is it some of these guys, some of these groups out here, like, especially on Facebook groups, especially like instructor certification, like cadres and stuff like that, how is it that they fall back when it comes down to creating
So,
a
so
tribe?
there was a quote that Riley, Bowman, and Tim and AJ were talking about at this past class. And I hope I don't butcher it, but a good plan executed perfectly is better than a perfect plan executed poorly. And I think a lot of these groups have the best of intentions. They mean well. They want the end goal, and it's much like shooting. If you stop focusing on the result and you focus on the process, it'll happen. But a lot of these groups, they focus on a result. They have this perfect plan of, we're going to add all these dudes, and I know a GM, and we're going to add him because he can talk to us about stuff, and it becomes an echo chamber, and it becomes a I'm right, you're wrong thing, and if it's forced and it doesn't last. You have to put in the work, and I mean, as much as that's a parallel to shooting, man, as much as we talk about shooting in the tribe, we talk about life. We talk about families, jobs, everything. We're there for each other no matter what. Shooting's just a fun part of it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the important parts, is that shooting is what brought us together, but the friendship and the connections we have are what's kept us together.
Man, good stuff. Anybody else? Like, if you had to give those guys advice, like, for instance, man, you see some really kind of crazy YouTube, like Facebook groups, and like some weird groups get together, some real instructor cadres, and other stuff. If you had to give them a way for them to kind of right the ship, so to speak, what would you say to them?
So I think that the first thing that's the most important, I think, at least in my book, and something that happens as soon as you enter the group chat in the tribe, and it is, check your ego at the door. We all tend to carry that around, right? We have that idea that, I've done these accomplishments, I've done this, I've done that, but a man that thinks he already knows everything's not going to learn anything, right? And it doesn't matter if it's life, it doesn't matter if it's shooting. If we come into any group or any class or any facet of life with that mentality, you're not going to progress, right? You're going to be stagnant. You're going to continually run into the same problems over and over. And checking our egos at the door, don't get me wrong, we're guys, it's still going to happen. We're still going to have some ego there, here and there, but most of the time it's friendly banter. It's us ribbing each other in friendly competition. So I think for me, checking your ego and then reading the room, right? It's very easy to pick up real quickly the people that you're going to jive with. Meeting these guys for the first time, that's the first thing I picked up on was, I don't care I don't care how I shoot now. I don't care how I perform in this class. I'm worried about, just doing the process, like Riley says, and AJ has said to me personally, just do the thing. Go out there and do the thing. Once you kind of embrace that mentality, I think that the magic just happens. It's there. It's just we tend to get in our own ways. We try to plan all these things out and force something, like Dave said. But when you do that, you get in your own way and you kind of sabotage yourself.
I've seen that before. Anybody else have any input?
I feel like we as a group are just one of the big things that's special is that we're all going through life separately, but we're also simultaneously doing it together at the same time. And it's like it's been mentioned before, we're the range time and the topic of guns and shooting is what brought us together, but just going through and having the life experience, sharing with each other our day-to-day, happenings, that's really where the magic is made, is just having the common friends to lean on or to, share experiences with and just go through life as a group together. Not necessarily with any specific goal in mind, but just, having that group of friends of like, hey, this is what I did today. What did y'all do today? I think that plays a huge role in how close we've all gotten.
Man, that spoke to me, brother. Let's get some replies from a couple more guys before we call it a night. How can other groups right the ship? How can you build your own tribe?
So I think definitely a big part of a lot of what causes a lot of those groups to fail, and how they can kind of work on building their own tribe is definitely, like a couple of the guys have touched on, is really the ego thing. And I mean, the gun stuff is definitely what brought us together, but like Neil just said, it's at the end of the day, it's really just about our day-to-day lives. I mean, at any point I can hop in the chat and talk watches with Neil and Cliff, or, talk jujitsu with some of the other guys. My day job is guns. I don't always want to be turned on with guns and talk about that all the time. So just having somewhere I can go talk whatever it is, whether it's family stuff or anything in the world, that definitely helps it. And this just happening naturally. I don't think that it can be forced at all. If you show up to a class and there's a bunch of dudes there that you think you may vibe with, just be friendly. I can't tell you how many classes I've taken, or matches I've shown up to where the dudes around me, I didn't want to be around them. But showing up to the class a couple weeks ago, this was the first time I met any of these guys in person. I've seen Tanner online prior. I've seen Ethan and Dave and a lot of these guys online, but it was honestly like I had known every aspect about these guys' lives, and it's like we were old friends reconnecting again. So I think just that whole aspect of getting super, not necessarily personal, but talking more than just the gun stuff, because at the end of the day, that kind of gets old. And again, just like leaving your ego at the door and just being there to learn and help each other and help build each other up.
Man, good stuff. I'm going to start calling on folks. Okay. Tanner, I want to hear your input. What are some of these groups? How could some of these groups build a tribe?
So I want to start off by saying that I was once, we attempted to make sort of like a tribe in our local area, and it failed. It failed miserably. And the simple reason is it's ego. Even my own ego. A lot of us, we all had the right intentions of, hey, we want to take this summer fall. We all want to get better, but we had guys who didn't want to invest in classes, who prioritized gear. We had guys who had families. And then we had guys who wanted to be, SMEs on stuff that we didn't really even have the knowledge to be SMEs on. And when we have all those egos kind of crashing at each other, everything just sort of tumbles. And I think, looking back and comparing it to the tribe now, it's just everyone's so genuine. If we don't know something, we say, hey man, we don't know this, but maybe this person would, or whatever it may be. And I think that's just something that made everything work out and kept everything so real and organic. It's just that we were so genuine and we're so real. So I think that if you are out there trying to start your own tribe, just be real, be humble, and just let the things happen naturally. And I think that's the best way to do it, because we're prime examples of it. So
Man, good stuff. How about you, Tyler? I think step one is turning off mute.
So I work on Mac, and so I'm still like trying to memorize all my command combo things. Right, I'm not computer literate by any means. If it doesn't go boom like on purpose, I don't really know much about it. Anyway, so one of the things I really like about the tribe and what I would recommend for other people is to find diversity, complementing diversity. Yes, I just made that up. So while all of us have a central theme of things we enjoy, we're all pro 2A men. We're all extremely different. Like we all have our own preferences. We all have like our own favorite flavor of thises and that's. But man, oh man, does that diversity really help us? It helps keep us from getting stuck in our own quote unquote box. It's so easy to be comfortable with your people that you're close to and you're like your neighbors, so to speak, because y'all are so much like each other and you get comfortable. Well, you don't learn or grow in your comfort zone. Right? You got to be pushed out of your comfort zone just enough and in the right type of environment to really grow and thrive. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's exactly what this tribe does. It keeps me just enough outside of my comfort zone to push me to always want to be better. And not just for myself, but for them, right? Because one day, somebody might call on me to help them. And I want to be the best I can be to do exactly that. So yeah, I would highly recommend while building your own tribe to look for diversity that's healthy.
Alrighty, let's get one more guy and then we'll finally wrap it up. What can people do to start their own tribe?
I think if you're going to go start your own, I think one of the first steps is don't be afraid to just go out and do it. Ethan decided to start this thing one day, and here we are now. So if there's not a tribe out there that you have found to get yourself into, don't be afraid to start your own. And then, as pretty much everyone has said, leave your ego at the door. That it's a real mood killer when somebody is trying to win being the coolest guy in your group of friends. And then I think and I also think the diversity is a pretty big part of it. We all come from a lot of various, come from different backgrounds and walks of life. We've done different things, our journeys as far as the shooting world, and then our personal journeys have been very different. But we're all here together, and we all build on each other.
So let's go ahead and wrap this up, because I think that, man, that's a great place to end it, isn't it? So, look, folks, guys, like this right here is the tribe. This right here is pretty close to me in my heart, because it's very, very rare that you would find a group like this. Like, I haven't found a group this tight since I left the Marine Corps. And there are other groups that I'm very, very tight with. There's instructor cadres, and then there's groups that I shoot with. There's groups that, I really care about them individually. I've never met a group like this where everybody is genuinely concerned for everybody else's welfare, even if it means that you have to make personal sacrifices in order for you to ensure that. And I think that that's something that happens on a very individual level in this group. And, it's not just a cadre. It's not just, a group. It's a tribe. And so I find it an honor for me to be able to bring that to you. And hopefully I can inspire folks to, start your own tribe in your own community. And I hope to go out there and train with your tribe. So guys, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Look, if you're watching or if you're listening to this, one thing I want to let you know of is that I really do appreciate the time that you're spending here. You could have spent your time doing anything, and you're here spending it with us. And I really want to make sure that you know that we appreciate it. I want to thank the guys, my brothers over here at the tribe. I want to thank you all for spending your nights away from your family to help us out. And this has just been awesome. Thanks a bunch. Folks, welcome to Memphis.